Station, everybody. Welcome, episode 28, Supreme Clientele. Back at it, February 26th, 2024. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. I know we're starting a bit later than usual, so thanks to the stragglers, but we appreciate y'all showing up for us. Link, how you doing tonight, bro? How you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Looking forward to this specific discussion we're having on these specific characters. One of my favorite, by one of my favorite creators, and one of them's like one of my favorite Marvel characters. So pretty excited. So,
Oh
but
yeah.
other than that, I've been great. Sorry, no, I've been good, man. It's been a week. Not a crazy week. I mean, it just started, but it's been good. But the past week has been good as well. How about you?
Oh yeah, it's been good, man. It's been better. Things at work have been a lot better, a lot running a lot smoother, which I've been very thankful for. We
Oh
did
yeah,
have a sick household there for like a good minute, but everybody is on the up and up now, so grateful for that. So yeah,
glad to
things are
hear.
looking up. I wish we would get some snow out here. It's like way too warm, way too early for me, but that's where we're at with it. But regardless, here we are.
I think we haven't gotten crazy snow down here. I don't know why I'm shaking my head, but it's just like, man, it had its time. It missed its months. We're probably gonna make up for it though. It's in like March, the end this month, March. Hopefully not, but it's been all right. I was gonna say, oh, I'm not ready. I don't want to deal with snow, but there really hasn't been much snow. I'm just lazy, I guess, and I don't want to have to shovel. Period. That's my whole thing.
Yeah, I get it. It's a whole nother lifestyle for you when it comes to snow. So I can understand that approach to it. But dude, before we got into the regular rigmarole, I heard this on Comic Pop getting kind of washing dishes tonight. I had Comic Pop returns on, and I heard that I know we don't usually do the breaking news. There's another show on Friday night that handles that a lot better than I could ever do. But Ultimate Black Panther is sold out. We got the second printing coming, I think March 13th or something. But if you don't have your hands locked in on a copy, you might be out of luck for like a month plus. I thought that this was awesome news. I love what Brian Hill's doing on Blade. I'm excited to see Ultimate Spidey kind of drum up this type of interest in the Ultimate Universe, and I'm sure people and uh, first off, hold on, let me say what up to the chat real quick because I want to get this. Verno, sorry we made you wait, bro. Um, we clocked in. Hey, we're here. Station, bro. Station E. Station Fable. Hold on, we got Brother Joe in here somewhere. Brother Joe, Station, bro. I think we called everybody. But E says, yeah, great, right? $50 a copy, but regardless, I'm happy that it's drummed up the interest and the excitement. How about you, bro? How are you feeling in general about this news? And I know
Oh,
that
I
I'm
mean, if
sure that
anyone who
yeah, that they were woefully underprepared for the numbers and ordering and all that, like because this was already kind of I'm sure Ultimate Spidey was a hit, but they didn't know really where to sit on this. But yeah, I don't know. How do you feel? Yeah, sorry to
um
interrupt. But
no, no. If anyone knows me, I champion the OG Ultimate Marvel Universe. It's kind of like my one of my bread and butters, like my fortes is that specific arena. So I'm so glad that to see this reincarnation of it get such the response that it's gotten. It shows that there's still some love there for it. Um, I've always been a champ. I mean, you're always gonna have to like retool it because the concept of it being fresh for new readers, it gets old after a while. Like no matter what you do, you're gonna build on. If it's new, it's gonna build its own continuity after a while. But I've always thought that there needs to be an ultimate line of some sort. So I'm glad that it's back. Didn't see this Black Panther come in. The Black Panther news. Very shocked about that. Spider-Man. I wasn't blown away by the news. I didn't expect it to go crazy like it has been. Like I don't I don't get the buzz behind that still. But yeah, very shocked about Black Panther, but also very excited. That's just good news. That shows that people are extremely excited for the Ultimate Universe. And I'm down for that. I'm all down for that.
yeah, absolutely, man. I hope it's a great story, and I can't wait to see like with this take on Panther. There's a cool
I'm
like
liking the costume.
design. There's that design variant from Caselli. And Caselli, dude, I remember him doing some art on Rick Remender's Venom run and it being super dope. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of frame of reference for him as an artist, but that is one memory
He did
I do have that was super fire. Go ahead. Sorry.
the Secret Warrior, the Stefano Caselli, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he did Secret Warriors with Hickman. That was kind of where I discovered Caselli. I know he also got his start with like Hack and Slash or something like that. I don't have this particular run that he did
Oh,
the
that's
art
right. You're
for, but I
right.
do
Yeah,
have
that's
the
right. Yeah, because that's a co-collaboration with
Sealy and
yeah, and the rest of them, right? Yeah. Hell yeah. Good call. I forgot about that. Yeah, but I'm excited. Looks interesting. Like I said, I'm glad it's selling out. But I thought that was cool news. Um, that it was drumming up
yeah,
that
it's not.
excitement. Oh yeah.
Gotta make sure I get a copy, bro.
I know, right? So yeah, I guess we kind of like already went over it, but one good thing from your past week. Anything particular you want to highlight?
Um, shouldn't be such a difficult question. Um, I'll answer that at the end of the show. Let me marinate on
All right,
that.
fair enough, man.
Give it
I was just gonna second what I already said. The family's in good health and work has been a lot smoother. So, oh yeah, moving on. What you watching, guys? Master of the Air. You know, I don't know how some of y'all feel about the World War II stuff. If you're a fan of Band of Brothers though in the Pacific, this one is definitely for you. I've been enjoying this one a lot. Um, Tells the story of the 100th Bombing Group who did daytime precision bombing on German targets, which included submarine pens, um, Messerschmitt factories, like, jet factories, ball bearing factories, all sorts of crazy shit. They did it during the daytime. There was high casualties. They were known as the Bloody 100th because of all the losses that they took. And, it's kind of about some of these missions that they went on and some of these guys who were either members of this or leading it or whatnot. But it's been great so far. Stars, um, what's his name from Elvis? Um, Austin Butler, I believe. Uh, that's one beautiful goddamn man. So, yeah, but it's been good. So if you're into the Tom Hanks, Spielberg, World War II stuff, definitely recommend Masters of the Air for you. This one was Link's recommendation. Link, how you feeling about True Detective Night Country? I'll be honest, True Detective for me, let me just say my piece real quick. It's like season one with McConaughey and Harrelson, of course, was a masterpiece in more ways than one. I thought that was like truly like some of the best television we've ever gotten. But like since then,
yeah,
it's really struggled to live up to that level, and it's fallen short. Some have been better than others. I think it was last season with Marshall Ali and what's his name from
Steven
Blade.
Dorff.
Yeah. But I don't know. Largely, like I don't know. Like I had high hopes for that Colin Farrell Vince Vaughn season, and that one just like kind of fell short for me. How you been feeling? I have not checked this one out. Just I've been trepidatious about it. Although I do love Jodie Foster. How you been? Did you enjoy what you watched for this one? Yes.
Side note, I want to say something about Austin Butler, bro, that makes me. It's like I don't know. I don't know how
That
that
man
guy.
is
I don't know.
gorgeous, bro.
I'm not a
That
Butler
more
fan, bro. I don't know.
that man made
When
me
I see him,
blush.
I'm almost. Yeah. I was almost mad when I found out he was in Dune 2. It's like I'll see him in something. I'm like, I'll leave that alone. I don't know. It's like ever since he did the whole Elvis thing, it's like let the accent go, bro. Like he will
It's
not
like
let
it's
that.
so attached to him here. It's like I can't. It's like Elvis at war. It's like Elvis is in the Air Force,
Yeah.
and it's like there's one scene where um it's like he's eating breakfast or whatever, and the shot is like the other guy walking in. And you see him like eating breakfast, and like he looks up and he looks exactly like fucking Elvis. And he's from Casper, Wyoming, or some shit like that, the Midwest. But it's like Elvis all the way, man. I can't help but put like anybody else right there with that face, like for better or for worse.
It's.
But it's wild.
I mean, I'm not saying he's not a good actor. It's just something. Oh, Alexa popped up. No. Sorry,
No,
the
you're
app
good.
popped up when I said it again. No, yeah, I don't have that much of disdain for him. I'm excited. Hopefully, if he's in Doom 2, obviously Denis Villeneuve, or I can never
Yeah,
pronounce his
Villain
name, saw
Villanueva
something.
or whatever. Yeah.
So, I'm just picking at him. But True Detective, I agree with you. Your sentiments on the setup. Season 1 was phenomenal. That's when I started to really. That was like 2014, same year as Interstellar. That's when McConaughey started to really have that career revival and career turnaround. Especially specifically for me, I took note of him. Had high hopes for season 2, but it was all over the place. It was Ninja. It
Ninja, what
was
up?
super messy. Um, Colin Farrell had a solid performance though. I did enjoy. I like Colin Farrell though in pretty much anything. But season 3 was promising. It was kind of like a return to form, but it was nowhere as good as season 1. But it wasn't as messy. It was more contained and just more contained. It was better told story than season 2. But season 4 has been good. I've only watched the first 2. I started to watch 3, but I fell asleep on it. But I've only watched the first 2 episodes so far. So it's like I feel like it's too early to really kind of judge of where I stack it up in the pantheon of the seasons. But I'm enjoying it so far. It reminds me of this movie called Wind River that I really liked that came out a few
Yo,
years ago.
yes,
It's got
with Renner and
Ren
Elizabeth Olsen.
Olsen.
Yeah, yeah, I love
Yes,
that
yeah.
joint. I love it.
This really reminds me of that. Like it almost has like the same plot. Like
Okay.
there's some stuff going on with the Inuit people. They're not treated too well and stuff. Yo, speaking of man, the Inuit girl above Jodie Foster. That's how Wonder Woman should be built, bro.
Yeah,
I know people
not
love Gal Gadot. I was never the biggest Gal Gadot fan, but she's athletic, feminine, but built at the same time. Like it's believable she could whoop someone's ass. Like that's how Wonder Woman. That's a random thing. But when I saw her, I was like, that's Wonder Woman.
no. My buddy at
It was
work
a specific
said she
scene.
was putting in work on this role. So yeah, it's intriguing. Yeah, intriguing.
Yeah, badass character. But yeah, it's been cool. It's got way more of a supernatural vibe to it than previous seasons, I'd say. But I don't mind that. But it's starts off with this research team is found like their campsite or whatever is found vacant, and they found like blood and stuff. And so they're trying to figure out where all these people went. And then like Jodie Foster is like the main sheriff in town. I believe that the girl next to her was the previous sheriff, and they've got some sort of animosity between each other or tension. But you can tell they butt heads, but they both have the similar goals. So it's like they make little sarcastic quips to each other, but they fuck with each other for the most part. Their goals align. They're trying to work with each other.
It's like from what I gathered, what my homeboy was telling me is like there's a previous case that she's fixated on solving that's still unsolved, and Jodie Foster
Yes.
is kind of like the sweep it under the rug. Like she takes it seriously, but she doesn't, and kind of not like manipulates her, but placates her, kind of strings her along more or less, and makes her think that like she's got like there's something that she's always got to do to she's got to let it go, or she's got to do this better or that better. I don't know. It kind of felt like Jodie Foster's character was flawed in a lot of interesting ways.
No, she is, but she means well. Like there's a line that Jodie Foster hit that character with. Like she was like, I wasn't even the head of when that shit happened. Like and that the case got shut down. I wasn't even the head of like it wasn't up to me. It wasn't my decision. It's like it seems like the previous sheriff is kind of has a gripe with Jodie Foster. It's like she's projecting anger that's not deserved of Jodie Foster. Maybe Jodie Foster could have reopened the case, but it was like already shut down before she got there. So it's like she's like, what do you want me to do? Like there's only so much I can do, and it's like you were handling that case before I got here and you couldn't solve it. Like so you can't be mad at me for something that you couldn't do, but you can tell there's a lot of tension between them.
Yeah.
Interesting characters, but
It's got like 30 days a night vibes, right? Like
yeah,
it's
yes, I was going to say
it's in one of those communities where it's like, and that's part of the, there's this mystical
it's
natural force at work type deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of supernatural moments that just were not existent in or non-existent in the first 3 seasons. But it's worth checking out if you enjoy True Detective. I'd say that it's kept the momentum that season 3 offered or promised with the return to its roots of season 1. And if you liked Wind River, 30 Days and Nights, boom.
There you go.
Check it out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, bro. All right, word. Well, my recommendation for the evening, my new one, is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. All these episodes are available on Amazon Prime. I'm a big Donald Glover fan. He executive produced this one also with his brother, Stephen Glover.
Oh, when you had said in the chat, when you had said DP had it executive produced it, I was like, I kind of assumed you meant Donald Glover, but I kept wondering. I was like, who's DP? Like Donald Pleasance
DP?
Or like?
No, my bad. I meant DJ. My bad, dude. Yeah. Yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to mislead you like that. Yeah, no, I was surprised to learn he was and Stephen Glover, his brother, is also on the credits. But yeah, this was great. I would have liked a little bit more like 80s type action and spycraft, like in place of a lot of the relationship work that they did, and it moved fast relationship wise, but at the same time the dialogue was great. A lot of the moments were really real. And what I loved about the spycraft was it felt real, authentic, not outside of the borders of reality whatsoever. It felt sloppy in some instances. It felt like practiced and trained and well rehearsed, and other points where it should. Like I thought it was just like it felt like a very real world situation where like you could believe these two people who kind of got rejected from government agencies for whatever reasons, but still had talents that were of use to certain people, killing people in whatever fashion, they could be applied elsewhere. So it was very interesting. Like the whole world that they built with their employer and stuff like that. It was very cool. Yeah, go ahead.
Have they changed anything from like? Is there a spin from the movie?
Different. It's completely different.
Okay.
From the movie, yeah. The only part I would say that the movie mirrors some of the movie is the last episode when it's not up. Spoiler alert, but it's it's a little bit of not team up, but them against one another. But that doesn't last for very long, and it ends differently than you think it would. But it was great, man. I thought it was really well done. They got a lot of great guest stars. What's his name who played Hellboy and fucking all those other
Ron Perlman?
Yeah, Ron Perlman's got a great turn for an episode as they got a lot of like these high stake execs and stuff like that are played. Their shrink is played by Sarah Paulson really well in an episode. I don't know. They got a lot of great guest turns. So yeah, I definitely.
I respect that, like, because that's the type of show you watch. Like, check this out, and it's like, hey, Ron Perlman, or hey, sir, because they don't show them in the trailers or what.
John Turturro, they just come through and they have like either for like half an episode, 3/4 an episode, or the whole episode. They have like a role that is essential to the plot of that episode. And
Turturro
was in it early on, and he was fantastic. And yeah, dude, it was wild.
You saw me the cameos alone. That's now I got to check it out.
Yeah, but all the episodes are available out there on Amazon. Excuse me. Yeah.
How many episodes are there?
8.
Like 8?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and
now
it's bittersweet.
My bad.
But it is what it is. So.
I know you fucked with Atlanta. any like stylings of that of Atlanta in here, and it's kind of like a, or is this like its own beast?
All right, there's elements of it where I just not necessarily that, but there's elements of it where Donald Glover inserts himself in it that where I know it's him. There's a great scene. I don't want to ruin too much of the season for you, but there's a great. I'll try to keep it as general as possible. There's a great scene where they
Okay.
meet other hitmen employed under the same company, right? And they end
Mhm.
up like socializing with them that night over dinner, right? And the dinner scene, he's playing clips. He's playing a clip song, "Right Around Shining," off the second album, "Hell Hath No Fury," and I'm just like, that is so real. Like, what a real like. It's just a great and the other guy, the other hitman who he just met, who's with him, ask him. He's a white guy, and he asks him like what it is, and he's like, "Is this Eminem?" And he's like, "No, it's not Eminem. It's the Clips." And he talks about like how he loves Eminem and whatever. And Donald Glover's character is like, he's like, "Yeah, I saw Eminem at a concert a few years back, and it was like a after a song or whatever, and he's like, everybody say fuck you, mom, or whatever, and like none of the crowd was with that. They're like, nah, dude, we all love our moms. Like you need to have a conversation with yours. Like type shit. I don't know. It was just like it was a great awkward moment, and I felt like it was such a that had to be like a Donald Glover note in the script. You know what I mean?
Wait a moment.
For one,
Yeah.
to be playing clips and just that, because I don't know, Eminem has
The
grown
conversation.
corny and lame in that way, for sure. So I thought that was great. Like to make that
Yeah.
guy a fan of him.
It's that's interesting thing because I was discussing Eminem. This is completely side tangent real quick, but I was discussing Eminem with somebody. They're like, I miss the old Eminem. I was like, yeah, you can go listen to the old Eminem, bro. I was like, the old Eminem wouldn't work as in today's times as a 50-year-old man, bro. Like this, just people got to evolve and change. You know, that's the
And bro,
evolution of
like I
life.
was listening to the old Eminem, and like when I was 15 years old, like I get it, like he was that guy for me, but at the same time, like I don't know, man. Life's all about
No,
growth and
yeah, yeah,
change.
yeah, yeah.
Like
It's
I
like
don't know.
you can't. I'm sure he kind of regrets that. I mean, I feel like he's gone on record saying that, like he regrets certain parts, chapters in his life where he was so proud to be so hateful against his
Yeah,
mother.
and
You
he
know,
came back,
like
yeah, and and just his whole theme was like, yeah, not
yeah.
what he should have been on, but yeah, oh yeah. Um, Gotta say what up to my homie Space Ferret Collectibles. Thank you for coming through, bro. That's the homie on Instagram. Bro sent me some great comics. Just a great dude. Y'all make sure you check him out. Make him follow him. He's got a YouTube show with Hood Rat Comics also. Pardon me, bro. I forget what the show's
Nice.
name is. But yeah, y'all check him out. Space Ferret Collectibles. That's the homie. No show. But yeah. Also, dude, homeboy glowed up. Look at my boy. Look at him.
Been
Okay,
hitting the
he's
deserts
ready.
there.
He's ready. He's on his 007. Like he ain't about that. Like he's about that action. So let's go. Yeah, y'all check it out. All right. So moving into new comics, we spent plenty of time on that. I guess like we'll go
Let's
ahead
do
and start
this.
with the Kid Cudi special. With Kyle
All right.
Higgins, of course, Radiant Black. I guess kind of like the showrunner, the story runner here on this book. Um, I kind of skimmed
Yeah.
through this, putting it together. Um, it seemed really scattered. It seemed all over the place. From what I got, the origin story was very
Yes.
Fantastic Four-ish. This guy's out in space and
Yes.
get hits with the cosmic rays. And let's celebrate the art, though. The art was crazy. I forget. Y'all forgive me. I need to start putting the names next to these variant covers. I know right there on the right, that's homeboy from Bitterroot, Sanford Green. That was one of my favorites. That one right there on the right, I thought that was dope. But yeah, the art I thought was fantastic. Throughout, Bill Sienkiewicz there on the left with the variant. Um, the art for the covers and the interiors was dope. I just think the story was a little all over the place. That Jordan Jumpman variant right there is killer. Love that one. So sick. Um, yeah, I don't know, Link. Like overall, how'd you feel about this? And you know, I don't expectations or whatever kind of going into a celeb comic, but like this one, I know the I've heard a lot of people say. I think Nick um listened to Nick and I on Saturday. He said the art was good, but the story just took some crazy twists and turns, and it seemed like that just putting the panels together. You'd have one panel where it was like crazy space art, and then the next panel he's in Cleveland, Ohio, or something. I don't know. Overall, how did you feel about it, bro?
I've always willing to check a fellow celebrity. I find that respectable, especially when they could be doing anything else. Sometimes it's not for the right reasons, but when they come into comics, I feel like that's always a passion project for a celebrity. So I'm always excited to see what they have to offer. Um, this is a valiant, solid first attempt. I think Kid Cudi's heart is in the right place, but it is very scattered. It's very you've read this before, like it's very similar to Fantastic Four. The setup, you've seen this hero, but he's a local hero who comes from a bad area that turns himself into something. He's got a younger brother he's taking care of, who's kind of like uh, a political, I don't want to say activist, but he's on the front lines, against the corporation that his brother works for, who seems like they have. I'm not too familiar with the Radiant Black universe, but it seems like this corporation has their hand in a bit of everything, and not in a good way. And so he gets in an accident. They're running tests on him. He doesn't really manifest any powers until later. It's just some of these moments were weird. The whole issue is he gets sent home after they find out there's nothing wrong with him. He's talking to his brother. His brother's like, "Yo, I gotta go. There's this event." It's he's seeing on the news that his brother is essentially at the area where shit has popped off. So next thing, this is where it gets a little scattered for me. It wasn't overall good. It wasn't amazing to begin with, but it was somewhat cohesive. But next thing I know, he's got some costume I've never seen before, and he's in the middle of town. And he saves his brother, and then his brother's like, "Yo, you got powers. They're gonna come after you, man." And he's like, "We got to do something about this." And he's like, "No one's gonna come after me." And then that's the issue kind of ended, bro. The art was the standout, absolutely. The coloring, the art was it was great, but it was all right. As a story, as a writing effort, it was all right. It wasn't terrible, but you know, that's why I really like Umbrella Academy or respect Jared Way, is because when he came into writing comics, bro, he was riding high off of his band. He could still been making bangers, music and stuff like that with My Chemical Romance, and was like, no, I want to take a break. I want to do something I'm passionate about, and he ended up being really good as a comic writer. It's not always the case. I don't really think that's the case with Cuddy. There's a few moments in this book where I was like reading it, I was like, I feel like he did this as a vehicle for maybe someone will want to pick this up as a movie one day, starring him as the Moon Man. Keanu Reeves did it too with Berserker, but Keanu Reeves also had a very competent comic writer helping him tell his story in the form of Matt Kent. Cuddy was kind of on his own. It's not a terrible first effort, but it's nothing amazing. It's nothing you gotta like. If you like the universe, I would say pick it up. I like that. Well, actually, I haven't read too much outside of Radiant Black, but from what I've heard, I hear it's a pretty cohesive, connected univerce. So
yeah,
I feel like if you're
he
into
does
that,
a good job like quickly setting it up and establishing things.
yeah,
I felt like this was like
yes, yeah,
you had so many brilliant space scenes like this, but then you had so many like scenes like this where it's just like characters talking to each other and not much you know what I mean?
yes.
It felt like it was either one or the other. I don't know.
The
So just
pacing, yes, was
yeah.
solid first effort though. I can't knock him, bro. Like I feel like it's now there's a lot of first issues that are never like knocks out the ballpark. Like but I like the issue too. It was cool.
No, it's easy. Yeah, it's way easier said than done too. You know what I mean? And it's like to even have something that is at least somewhat palatable and will bring people around for an issue too is something to be said for that. But hell yeah. All right, so my one new comic that I was going to talk about was Avengers Twilight #2. I loved #1. This one was all right. I like this one. I wish it was a little bit more action and getting to the chicken than what we got. But regardless, I did enjoy it. Yeah, great cover there on the left by Greg Smallwood.
Smallwood. Okay, makes sense.
Smallwood. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
I think that's a Daniel. No, that's a Daniel Acuna on the right.
Is that a JR?
That's Ross on the left.
Okay.
But yeah, so end of last issue, Cap got the re-up. He got re-upped on the he was an old man. He was kind of falling apart. He re-upped on the the super soldier serum, excuse me. And this issue opens up with these two, like, I guess the cops these days wear these like pseudo Iron Man type suits, and they were harassing this this old homeless man who was sleeping on the street or whatever. Cap showed up and saved the day. We get these brilliant covers again from Acuna. I love the art here. I love the look of the new Avengers and the new Cap and stuff like that. But yeah, so
real quick, you ever read the amalgam universe Super Soldier?
Dude,
Mark
he
Waid
does look like exactly like that. That's a great call, bro. What's his name? It's like Super Soldier, or is it something? Oh my god, is it that bad? Yeah. Dude, that's such a great call. He looks exactly like that. Oh yeah. The Amalgam universe was like such a drop ball, man. Like literally,
there was some
there was a couple hits, but like, how many misses did you have? Like, and that's just crazy. Like, you got a blank check to combine these universes and make the coolest shit imaginable, and that's what they came up with. It was just like so crazy.
You know what? I feel like if they were to try to do it now, it would be better creatively. But I mean, not to say it wasn't creative when it first came out, but it's like maybe it was more of like a quick cash grab for the, it's like let's team up and.
Yeah, just like yet another crossover that got swept under the rug. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't know. Like the cartoonist Kayfa just broke down the Lobo the Duck, like the Howard the Ducks.
No way.
Lobo, yeah, and like even that was like such a great idea, but still it was like, I don't know.
Didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, well, it's just like I don't know. I felt like none of them really. Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like,
that was kind of cool. It was a cool idea. Dark Claw was. I'm probably biased, but Dark Claw was my favorite.
The best. I agree. I think Dark Claw was the best. Yeah. I think I remember Doom was Dr. Doomsday. It was Doomsday and Doom combined. And
oh yeah, that's
cool enough, I guess. But yeah, I think Dark Claw for sure. Yeah. Anyway, getting back on track. Cap's with the underground movement. He's, asking them for reassurance about like this being the way that, these little underground skirmishes and word of mouth, grassroots type of campaigning is the way to go. And they insist it is. His wife shows up. I love this kind of like exchange between them and that artwork by Acuna with a line work around Rose's head and her anger and Cap trying to like kind of calm her down, which ultimately doesn't work. She leaves him and says, "You always got to fight your wars," and he's really got nothing for her. Anyway, it cuts to what's his name? I think it's James Stark, the son of Iron Man and Wasp in this universe. They're at the Oval Office. He's there with Jarvis or Uncle Jarvis or whatever. And they basically bully the president and let him know who's really in charge, type of deal. This was where I felt like the issue dropped the ball. All right, they were like, bring out the Thunderbolt troops, and I was like, oh shit. for me, like I know you're as much a fan as I am of the Warren Ellis, Mike Deodato run, like just the badass, random ass like radioactive man, Matt Gargan as Venom type, like. So I had high hopes. I found the Thunderbolt troops to be a little bit underwhelming, honestly. Anyway, we'll get to that. They call it the Thunderbolt troops. Among them is a bullseye, right? And so that sounds cool, but it ends up not being as cool as you would think it would be. Anyway, Cap's going on his own recruiting trip. He hits up Kamala Khan, who's like, "How dare you?" After H-Day or whatever, the tragedy they all suffered. He's like, "I've heard news reports of a giant hand saving people. I know you're basically, still active in some respect. I don't mean to ask you about this, but I need you." Type deal. She kicks him out, but she's thinking about it. Type situation. Sal says, "Thunderbolt's mention got my hopes up too." Yeah, man. It just didn't. It was a cool idea. It just didn't. It didn't come through for me. Anyway, their plan is to overrun this totalitarian, like what is basically this totalitarian American government's broadcast channels, broadcast videos of their atrocities, and at the same time, Cap's going to give his speech, his rally I'm all speech or whatever. So they get set up, but they have basically we find out through a quick bubble or two that basically they have a mole inside. I think the Avengers Twilight team basically or the Resistance team has a mole inside them because they know that they're planning the attack and this is their target. Anyway, they're ready for them. They got snipers set up. One of the snipers hits a woman, which is where you see Cap reacting to there on the bottom right. It goes to her shoulder. It's not like a super serious wound, but regardless, a woman gets shot by these Thunderbolt troops on live television. Cap takes out the soldier or whatever. He gets the microphone. He addresses, the nation in effect and says, this is not freedom. This what you have now is false freedom, and I know you all feel it too. You know who I am. You know what I stand for. Of course, they cut the broadcast. They're and Cap and his compadres. They're called the New Defenders. Throw it back to the Cap lore and all that stuff. Get away or try to get away. One of them gets sniped by a bullseye, the sniper bullet. All right, so something's up with Bullseye because he could have taken the kill shot basically, but didn't. So I don't know really what his history is or who he is, but he nicks one of Cap's teammates or whatever, when his defender teammates, and Cap comes back, picks him up, throws him on the motorcycle, and they get off, get away. Yeah. But anyway, they report this to Jarvis or whatever. He's not happy about it. We find out that he's made some deal with Ultron / the Red Skull. The Red Skull and Ultron are like one, and he's made a deal to basically turn over the world to that entity once he gets what he wants, which of course these Avengers and whatever the current situation is preventing from happening. Anyway, the issue ends with Cap finding out about what happened to Tony, and that Tony's basically like, what did you say, dude? And that issue or the episode with Zordon. Tony's basically Zordon, man. All right, Tony's a floating head in a tank, so he's a head in a lava lamp. We got to free Tony, so I'm all for that. I agree with what you said here. Avengers Twilight felt more about character work and setup than furthering the story, but I trust Chip. We're only going 4 issues here, though. Like I could have done with a bit more pacing.
It's only 4 issues.
Yeah, man. I'm pretty sure this is only going 4. So I could have done with a bit more pacing here. But regardless, I thought it was a solid issue. I love the artwork. I'm still gonna read it and see where it goes. Like I said, I trust Chip. All right, bro. The last new comic of the night, Dead X-Men. We got the Kevin Eastman variant.
All right.
We talked about this in the back chat. I just want to shout out my boy and his Daredevil work. Great Kevin Eastman doing some great Daredevil variants.
I like.
Oh yeah, y'all check him out. Yeah, a couple other great ones. I think Kevin Warnock and somebody else did a good one. But yeah, I included this from the Hellfire Gala when this team was first assembled before they got annihilated by Nimrod. All right, so Link, how are they back? I know we're not the full team is not back, right? Juggernaut, Sync, and somebody else is not back.
A Dazzler, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay,
Dazzler is. Oh no, there's Dazzler's there. Juggernaut. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. How are the remaining? How are they back in the first place though?
So I don't know if they. This is my first. I don't know if they answered this elsewhere, but these guys just kind of pop up. I didn't read Sins of Sinister. He was saying that has like ties or it's like spillover from Sins of Sinister plot threads. But I checked this one out after talking to E and Fable about it in the back chats a couple of days ago.
Yeah, Fable had
I didn't know. I didn't know this was written by the same dude who did Dark X-Men, and I know that was one of my picks. Issue 1 and 2 I know we covered, but I fell off. Also, I didn't do issue.
He did Murder World with Jim Zub. That was awesome. Even though they like spread that out, like shout out to Steve Fox. Yeah, him and Jim Zub did that together. That was a good little series, man. Like, I like that
one. I'll definitely check that out because I fucked with this Dark X-Men. I didn't cover. We didn't cover issues 3 and 4, but I read it. But I forgot about issue 5, so I read that before I read this. But this dude, you can tell, is an X-Men fan. He's read some of the terrible X-Men runs that we like to complain about, and he's incorporated characters or plot threads in, like his Dark X-Men. He dealt, he had a few characters from Chuck Austin's run, the infamous Zaziel, where we are revealed that Nightcrawler's father is some mutant that kind of resides in hell. He's kind of a demon, but not a demon. It was always a little convoluted. But you can tell this guy, he's got Maggot popping up. But you can tell this guy's a fan who's read this and he's having fun with these stories. But these guys pop up. They're trying to track down Moira because they were trying to, I guess, extrapolate information from her head about alternate lives she's had, so they can see kind of like map out where they need to take things or what choices not to make. That's what I picked up from it. So they're like time jumping. They can jump to the different lives that Moira's inhabited. I'm assuming that's what it was. Maybe it's just alternate universes altogether. But they jump to this alternate universe, and the world is fucked, bro. Like there's no oxygen on it. They jump there and start suffocating almost immediately. And the X-Men of that world, which is Abigail Brand, shocker, with random armor.
Oh yeah.
I found it interesting that this is what made me think this dude is such an X-Men fan. He's got Blink. He knows Blink's a fan favorite. Random is a random choice, but people know Random.
Even I know Random.
Rootfire, I think that's a new creation from the Arachos or whatever. I'm not familiar with Rootfire. So someone, if you know who Rootfire is, help me out. But Brand and Armor are both Joss Whedon creations that came from the Astonishing X-Men run, So it's like that right there, the fact that the two new creations, or the two X-Men members, he did create new characters, but those were the two new, I guess you could say, X-Men characters he created.
I didn't know Abigail Brand was a Joss Whedon creation.
Yeah, Astonishing X-Men, bro. Yes, sir. But they get there, and Abigail Brand is like, she's explaining to them what happened in this timeline and how they pretty much got the ball dropped on them. Like, I guess the black hole bomb was set off within Krakoa and obliterated a good portion of the X-Men. Oh yeah, they've got a. I guess they're.
I love that art. Yeah.
Yo, this dude. The shout out to the artist, because they did if it was a few years ago, it was called Avengers of the Wasteland, and the art was, I'm pretty sure it's the same artist, and the art wasn't bad, but I love the artist level up, bro, and this dude's leveled up in the last few years, because it's way more kinetic dynamic than his art was in Avengers of the Wasteland. Um, yeah. So that
Bernard
previous
Chang.
panel,
Bernard
Bernard
Chang
Chang.
is artist. Yeah.
No shit for Dead X-Men?
Yep.
Oh, I am so off. Why did I think it was some bro? I thought it
Okay.
was Jonas Sheriff.
He's
You
the
go back
first
to
one
the
listed
issue
on
one.
League. Yeah, you might be right because Jonas Sheriff is the second one listed. So is Bernard Chang the cover artist? Bernard Chang is the first one listed. So I don't know if that means he's the cover artist or the interior.
It could be Bernard Chang. I feel like he's got way more because it's not reminding me of the Children of the Atom miniseries. You know, I mean, he could have changed his style. That was a few years ago, but
Yeah, I don't think my bad, dude. I don't think I included the credits page. I should have.
Is on the first issue. I think it might have the names on it, or the cover of the cover page. Shout out to the little whale island they have though. That's so dope.
No, my bad.
Oh, the main cover. I could have sworn you had the main cover on here.
Oh yeah. Hold on. My bad.
Oh yeah, so shit. I did not even peep Chang. So okay, maybe he did certain panels.
See,
The art did seem
yeah, is he listed
switching
first?
up.
Would be if he's listed first? Does that mean he's on interiors? I don't know how that works.
I think that means I think he is a no. It's Sheriff is listed first, then Chang. But I think that means they're both like Chang is the guest artist if he's
Okay.
listed second. I'm pretty sure that it goes. Cause so that looks like Sheriff or Sharif, however you pronounce his name. But then it's like the panel with that action panel that looks like Chang, more so Chang. Like that looks like it could be Chang.
Okay.
Just switch to Abigail, the team, because it
Wonder if
does.
both.
The style does switch up.
That looks great right there, though. I
But
love that one. Yeah.
yeah,
I love that.
quickly, this is yeah. It shows you a lot in the panels, like kind of
Right?
like you're seeing the explosion of the black hole bomb and how it devastated the world, and that dude, I think he's a Sinister variant. I forget his name. Shit. I know they say it in the book, but he's
Okay,
the bad guy of this.
He says Vincenzo Caruto on interiors, at least based on CLZ. So another curveball. So there's 500 artists.
Yeah, multiple artists. They all did a banger.
Either way, yeah, absolutely. Like it's got great dynamic art throughout. What? So what's up with what? Do you want to talk about Moira and the Weapon M at the end?
So I'm confused. I don't know if this is a Moira particular to that timeline. Is this the Moira, the main Moira, and somehow she's in this timeline?
I think it was like the Moira particular timeline, but I could be wrong.
Okay. See, but then I get confused with that is because in order for Moira to jump to the next life, she had to die, right? So technically there would be no Moira in a previous life that she had been to.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I get
I don't know.
Time travel comics.
They did Moira to death, man.
They're trying to find Moira to extrapolate this information on her lives. They end up finding her. In this world, they've defeated something, but there's always what happened in the movies. They explained it. So because they stopped the Sentinels in Days of Future Past, they just found another way to eliminate mutants in Logan, with the corn syrup thing. So it's like, or they explain it in Days of Future Past as well. So it's they defeated one enemy, and now the Phalanx have they're put in their place. Those are they're coming after the X-Men now. If you know the Phalanx, they're not ones to fuck with. But this ragtag team of X-Men, they end up finding Moira. Moira happens upon them, and David absorbs all the information he needs and a piece of the I can never pronounce it. Cratoric, Jergy's gem. the Cataract. How do you pronounce that shit? But he ends up absorbing a piece of it somehow, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, Sidorak.
They're trying to Sidorak.
The
Thank
Crimson
you,
Bands
thank
of
you.
Sidorak. That's a cool name. I've always
Yeah,
heard that.
yeah, it rolls off the tongue quite well when you can pronounce it. And I just linked it.
Dude, Stan Lee
But
loved him some fucking alliteration, didn't he? Jesus.
But battle pops up. These guys try to help real quick with the leftover X-Men as much as they can, but they're like, "Yo, we should get out of here." I don't know what Moira's trying to build something, bro. That's gonna, I guess, help her time jump to.
It's got like all the indestructible materials of Marvel Universe, like adamantium, vibranium,
Mysterium,
carbodium. I love how that was from what's his name, Omega Red. So yeah, Mysterium.
Oh yeah.
All sorts of wild stuff. So yeah, she's up to something.
Cyber.
Oh yeah.
But I just want to go back to one panel real quick. My bad.
Oh,
it was a cool little shout out.
My bad.
If you're a fan of towards the end, it was the Warbird. By the way, I dig it that she's Carol Danvers is calling herself Warbird. That the panel you just passed, where that's Carol Danvers right there. Cannonball's kid. If you read Jonathan Hickman's Avengers, you know that Cannonball got married to the Smasher, the new Smasher, I think she's from Earth, but they ended up having a baby. And they still have it's a baby, but it's cool. This is what I'm saying. The dude's obviously a fan of these characters. We have a grown Smasher right here, bro, with the powers of Cannonball and his mom together. So yeah, I hopefully we get to see more of him. But if not, that's a cool little shout out, or I don't know, just a cool little addition, a cameo.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Love to see Spot. He's the new Corsair, baby. They're the Starjammers. I would love to read that.
What?
But yeah, it was a cool book, bro.
That's dope. I gotta check that out. Dude, I was just reading that Uncanny. I just was going over that Uncanny 276, 277 Jim Lee Claremont run with the Starjammers and all that stuff. Hell yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, Sal says
like Captain.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I gotta check that one out. All right. So on to Throwback Tuesday, our blast from the past. I thought tonight we're going to keep looking at Marvel Knights, guys. So I know it's already late, so we'll try to move through this as quick as possible. But I got some good stuff planned, particularly for Marvel Boy, but we'll start with Sentry. Paul Jenkins Jae Lee. Now, I got to shout this guy out. I DM'd him, and I asked him for permission to use his interview video, or like 2 minutes from his interview video. He's a up and coming YouTuber just like us. Hold on, let me get his name right here before I make a fool of myself. My homeboy Robert Willing. Yeah, so he interviewed Paul Jenkins 2 months ago, and he had this kind of origin story to put together about how this came to be. And if Robert tells me to F off, then I guess this episode will be lost to the annals of space and time. I thought we looked at this real quick.
Karen Berger at Vertigo, who I did Hellblazer for.
Right.
And I was really, really enamored of a character that they have at DC called the Hour Man. In fact, I would love to write it.
Yes, Hour Man. Yes, Hour Man. Yes.
And so to me, one of the things that was built into the idea of Hour Man is if you took a pill that could make you a superhero for 1 hour, to me, that would be the greatest and most incredible addiction that you could possibly have, right?
Yes.
And I wanted to write a story about addiction. And so I pitched it to Karen, and I said, look, I think it's just a really good way of taking a character, giving him this thing, and having him be addicted. So in fact, if you stop on that page right there that you're looking at,
yep.
So Karen understandably said, the thing in Vertigo is I just don't do superheroes anymore. We stopped it. Vertigo doesn't do that. For example, if Alan were to pitch me Watchmen now, I think I probably wouldn't say yes, because we don't do superheroes. She said, think of a new character, think of something else to do that type of, because it's a great story. Can you think of a way to do it? And so from that conversation about Our Man, I created the Sentry. And I pitched the Sentry back to her and I said, here's a guy who thinks he may have once have been a superhero, but it's possibly an addiction. It's almost like you can't tell. And my feeling was the last page would be that he would take you'd be so convinced he's not. He says he's putting on the old Sentry suit and he's clearly not super. He's clearly an addict. Yep. But then in the last page, he walks out the backyard and walks up into the sky. And now you've got the question, right? So that was the origin of the Sentry. And Karen said, I still think with it being a superhero, I think because he walks up into the sky, it makes it a superhero story, and that's not for us.
Right. And
so like he goes on to say that to basically get this to happen, he had to cash in that blank check he got from Marvel after the success of the Inhumans. They basically, they were riding high on the success of the Humans. And hold on, I'll get to it. I got it here. Right in high, yeah. They had carte blanche from Marvel to pick a character or story of their choice. And like you said, he had been, transfixed on that idea of the Hour Man and addiction or whatever. So when they asked him whatever, he had pitched this to Marvel as well, not just to Karen Berger and DC Vertigo. He had pitched it to Marvel and gotten rejected before as well. So like they were, and Jae Lee was really behind him on this. Jae Lee backed him. So yeah, and Jose Villarrubia, Jae Lee's artist, best friend / helper or whatever, also did some of the art on this. But yeah, to me, dude, I loved going through this. I love the art on this more than I love the art on the Humans. I loved his color palette more. It's not as shadowy. It's brighter. He plays with more and more the Marvel universe. We get Sunspot. I mean, I'm just looking at these comments. We get Wolverine. We get Spider-Man. We get the Avengers. We get like all corners of the Marvel universe. Like, yeah, the FF, of course. Like Reed Richards is the first one to encounter him. But yeah, dude. Anything you just want to say starting out like about this? Like, how did you first discover this story as a reader?
Sentry, I remember seeing them advertise Sentry in Wizard and stuff, and at the time they're promoting him as like an idea that Stan Lee had created with somebody back in the golden age of Marvel before they took off, and for whatever reason they decided somehow Joe Quesada had found the characters like, yo, can I use this? And Stan, like they were really shipping it as like this is advertising as like, this is a character. Like Stan was talking about, it was all false, but it was for advertising to hype up this character. But I thought it was genius. I was like, oh, this dope golden age character that they're bringing. It looks so bright compared to the average. Not a lot of Marvel superheroes, or the main ones, have capes. Beyond Thor and stuff. So I'm like, he's got a cape. He's very Superman-ish. I'm curious to see what this would look like under Marvel. This was like 2000. I didn't read Sentry until the main Sentry series until 2006. I had just graduated high school. He had a previous series in 2005, which Paul Jenkins wrote and JR were on art. And I had known of Sentry when I was getting that second series, but I had never been able to track it down. So I was like, oh, hey, cool. There's still, he was just starting to get used in the new Avengers at the time. So I was like, oh, cool. Let me check this out. Loved him. I always thought he was cool. Loved the second series. Loved New Avengers. Loved what they're doing him. Thought he was cool. So when I finally got the first series in 2006, I was like, yes, I tracked it down. I remember this in Wizard magazine, and I've always, I like Sentry because he reminds me of Wolverine in the aspect that these are like, I don't want to say I always like broken characters, but these are guys who have a lot of like personal demons, and it'd be easy to give in to those personal demons, but they use those demons to try to help fight. They fight through their demons to try to help others. They're very Wolverine more than the Sentry. I find them very selfless in that aspect. They're willing to
absolutely
get let their demons tear them up to try to better the world.
Yeah, man.
Sentry's very similar aspect is like, because no matter what good he does, there's the void there to always counteract that. He never knows when the void's going to pop up or what degree it's going to be, but he always knows that the void is out there waiting for him and making his plan. So it's like he's already a very mentally fragile, broken man. And so it's like with that Sentry or the void aspect, there's like a level of anxiety, that he's always experiencing. That he's very concerned with time, and not being able to, he's got this little computer called clock that lets him know when an accident is happening and where and at what time and shit. So he's very not obsessed with time, but he's concerned with time. Time can kind of the concept of it can kind of correlate with anxiety sometimes if you're on the wrong side of the fence. So it's like, he's this broken character, bro, but he just keeps trying. And I like characters like that. He sacrificed himself previously. Obviously, it was a retcon, but at the end of the series, he essentially has to do the same shit again. And, he steps up to the plate willingly. And, I dug that. And I think I respect Superman, but Superman's almost too perfect. I like my characters to have human elements, to show like, oh shit, a broken guy like that can push through his problems and be like one of the strongest he's not perfect, but he can still be one of the best. I like human aspects in my characters, and that's just, I always dug the idea of a broken Superman, which he is.
Absolutely.
I think he's just, and he's got a cool costume.
I love the start to issue too, when he's got the cape, like close with the clothespins on to his shirt or whatever. He's really like way up on the construction equipment or whatever, and Reed Richards kind of like moves up to him or whatever. But I love the throwback art by Jae Lee also, like how he handles the throwback scenes just as well as like the contemporary stuff. It's like he really did his thing on this, like more so than some of these other Marvel projects. Not that FF 1, 2, 3, 4 and Humans weren't great, but I don't know. I think for like Marvel Knights projects from Jae Lee, this might be my favorite.
I agree. No, I agree. I've got a soft spot in this was like, I feel like I might have read this before 1, 2, 3, 4, but hey, there's a cool connection. Last week we covered a Morrison and Jae Lee book, and this week we're covering some Morrison and Jae Lee stuff again. Morrison's writing the book, Jae Lee's doing the art, but not the same book. But I
still didn't get to eat blueberry pancakes with the guy. You know what I'm saying?
One day. We can't all be Robbie.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Golden Man. But, it's beautiful artwork. I feel like this is. I feel like it's way more. I feel like his art in 1, 2, 3, 4 was kind of not all over the place, but a little bit more muddy, I guess, which is weird because I think Jose Villabarra or whatever was his artist. They were the same art team, so I don't know what the difference was there. But maybe I'm just biased because I love the Sentry, and it just works better. But beautiful artwork, Paul Jenkins. Lemire did a solid Sentry series, but I almost feel like at this point nobody should
check that one out. Let me ask you this.
It was solid.
I was going to get to this kind of at the end of the slide. Did you read the second volume with Romita Jr. on artwork?
Jared
and Paul Jenkins?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Did you? So from what I read, I haven't read it, but from what I gathered, that's more focused on his visits to the psychiatrist and like the mental health aspect of it all. Like more hyper focused on that. Oh, there you go. Let's go.
The issue just kind of deals with him trying to talking to a therapist throughout the issue or the series, trying to come to terms with his place in the universe, how he's made people forget him twice now, and he's come back, and the trauma that he may have to do that again. He talks about the void, and I've not read the second series in a long time, admittedly, but from what I remember, he, the psychiatrist or therapist wasn't too convinced that the void was a real thing. He's like, maybe that's something, because of your mindset, it's something you're manifesting. is something maybe you can overcome by trying to change your mindset. We see that's not really the case, but it was fun. Because it was running concurrently when he was popping up in New Avengers, so it was just kind of genius marketing for this new dude that you got on a new team of Avengers to have he was mysterious around 2005. Like, Bendis.
Yeah, man.
That's why I love Bendis, bro. No one was using Sentry beyond Paul Jenkins. Paul Jenkins did his miniseries. Like 4 years went by, no one was using him. Bendis dusted him off, threw him on the New Avengers, gave him new life. But the second series definitely but depending on how people feel about JR's art, it's definitely probably not your bag if compared to the first series. It's not as epic, I guess. I mean, the first series wasn't too epic, but like you said, it's more intimate, where it's more of trying to get into the psyche of Bob Reynolds, the Sentry, and how he's dealing with his place in the current Marvel Universe second series. Both worth checking out. I love them both.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, artwork's incredible. There's some of the JR.
You got some panels? All right. Yeah, I know we got some people who haven't been to. Oh, you know what? Oh,
sorry, bro.
Just to spotlight some JR naysayers real quick. I know he hasn't been the talk of the town lately, but the man's. I'm not really seeing anything to justify myself, but it's coming. This is just a fun one. I'm not saying that's good, but yeah, that's not. I could see some people tearing that shit up. Okay, this is a decent one. Come on now, look.
Yeah, that's fire. Man. That's good.
Yeah, it's confident.
Like, dude, I don't know. I love his that Rick Remender Dimension Z Captain America run where he gets weird with it. Like, it's just good. JR. I don't know. It just works for me. All right. Getting on to the crown jewel of the evening. Marvel Boy. Let's go. I think, I have two. I have 2 TBBs. I need to get all 6 of these issues, but Grant Morrison's, his first foray into Marvel, right? I think his first Marvel book ever. Yeah. Also, great. Look at this great photo I found.
No, that's Morrison. Wow.
Y'all just marinate on that one. You're welcome. Let's just toast to that.
Right? I didn't even know that existed in any aspect. I thought Morrison came out the womb with a shaved head.
Bro lost all that hair fast. Like, what in the hell happened? Anyway, I feel like this is Arkham Asylum, New House on New Earth type days. If he's reading Batman and he's like still got all his hair. That's fucking great, though. Anyway, I found that in my research for this this portion of the show. I had to share. My dog. All right, how it happened? Jesus God, that is far away. Okay. Basically, Quesada, he's asking. This is I think 4 or 5 months before he is, like we covered this in last week's episode. This is 4 or 5 months before he is asked to become editor-in-chief of Marvel. His stock is super high at the company. But Link, do you know? I meant to look this up before the episode. Do you know when Final Crisis was with Morrison and J.G. Jones? Because this is the same creative team, and I don't know if Quesada saw that creative team and just went and asked them as the pair, or it was the other way around.
That Final Crisis came out the summer or spring of 2008. So I remember people being talking about like, hey, the Marvel Boy team is teaming up for another book at DC. So yeah.
Okay. All right, hell yeah.
Did
All right.
they work on something before this though? JG and
Oh
Grant, or was
no,
this their
that's
first?
a good question. I don't know. I don't know, but they had great. I feel like they have great chemistry. Like
Yeah.
always when they get together. I know he had to drop out of Final Crisis a little earlier than he wanted to, but regardless, you know those covers that he did, I think, are eternal. And I don't know, some of this guy's artwork
Okay.
is like forever etched in my memory. So I don't know. This one was big when I first discovered it. But yeah, um, first of all, Morrison's Super Gods book is a great just book about comics in general. If you want to read from one of the better creators of our generation's point of view as well. At times it gets a little bit slanted with his bias and his ego, but that's just something you have to wade through. At the same time, he does some excellent, just like objective reporting on huge events that made comics what they are today. A lot of it is very historical, informational, and just a good source of knowledge. Like I said, it is. He writes some events and books and perspectives from his bias, so that's something you have to deal with. But regardless, I highly recommend Super Gods by Grant Morrison. It's been a bestseller. I think it's going to stay a bestseller. He did a great job with it. Anyway, this was Joe came to him, Casada, and offered him the job. He wanted to try something that he'd never done before. In the spirit of Naomi Klein's No Logo. I had no idea what this was when he mentioned it. I found this great little video. So this was I guess, documentary / book that dropped in the 90s that kind of set the world on fire, the way it looked at corporate branding and the global economy and all that. I found this little summary of it. I'll play real quick.
And their impact on society, written by Canadian author and activist Naomi Klein in 1999. The book is a scathing indictment of the excesses of consumer capitalism and the ways in which multinational corporations have come to dominate virtually every aspect of modern life. Klein argues that these corporations have created a branded world where the value of a product is no longer based solely on its intrinsic quality, but on the associations and emotions that the brand name evokes in the consumer. The book is divided into 4 parts, each examining a different aspect of the global branding phenomenon.
So that sounds like it was written by an AI, but regardless, I feel like it's a pretty accurate summary of the book and the effect it had in Morrison, because you definitely see it in Marvel Boy. It's all about, like this. It's corporations, branding, and the effect it has on the civilian population. Hold on, let me get back to that slide real quick. All right. So, yeah, he basically wanted to ask if, what if Kal-El wasn't discovered by Midwestern farmers, but by Midas, by a, corporate greed and, want to take over, reshape civilization in its own form. And so that was the basis of it. He based it on Bill Everett's Namor, the Submariner, rather. Bill Everett, the guy who co-created Daredevil, a legend in the industry. A lot of that teenage punk attitude he wanted to bring to Novar, the Marvel Boy. So that was a lot of his basis. So shout out Bill Everett. Also Carl Burgos. Bill Everett, Carl Burgos, this early Submariner, Human Torch stuff, man. Without that, we don't have comics today. And this stuff is still cool to look at to me when I was doing research for this in 2024. This artwork still has its intrigue to me. So yeah, y'all check out Bill Everett, Carl Burgos, 2 titans of the industry. Anyway. We get General Midas and his daughter what's her name? Link Oubliette, the exterminatrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
90s or early 2000s.
So these two are yeah, these two, like, we also get a the Hexus, I think, is that the name of it?
The Plex or no,
Yeah, hold on
Plex,
one
right? That's his little.
Yeah, the Plexus, the living corporation, which kind of like tries to um, establish itself and take root with flyers, essentially at first, promising like get rich schemes and stuff like that, and like kind of go from there. Yeah. Anyway, just to elaborate on the Bill Everett character, wild teenage Prince Namor, and he found the template for the anti-establishment Superman. Kal-El of Krypton's rocket had been found by a kindly couple, representatives of the best Midwestern values could offer. What if he'd been found by a representative of America's corporate dinosauric military-industrial nightmare, as personified by the monstrous armored Dr. Midas and his zipped-up bondage babe daughter, Oubliette the Terminatrix, representing the entertainment media. So, obviously, a theme that only Grant Morrison could conjure, I think it's safe to say.
The way they do.
nobody else is coming out of the comic like this. But yeah, hold on. Let me go back right here. I love this. Like early on, just blazing the UN building in Manhattan.
Good portion of this book is him just fucking shit up.
Right? Just destroying shit.
Causing
yeah, let's get to that real quick. Says Morrison, we imagine our heroes created as a strange, unthinkable, untranslatable mix of seeming opposites described in the text as Zen fascism. We'd all seen what ray guns and flying saucers could do, but what if the alien had a belief system so seductive, so powerful, and ultimately corrosive that it can destroy your own social structure? In a move that seems prescient, Jones and I had him attack Manhattan, burning the words "fuck you" into the street grid, big enough for Dum Dum Dugan and Shield to read from space, which you see right here. Of course, they edited it, but yeah, a big moment. I love these covers by Jones right here. Okay, here's issue 3. This is what I was talking about, Link, with the establishment of Hexus. Yeah. Let me get to it. So we get these, like, the issue opens with these guys all responding to this job interview or whatever, and they find out that it's Hexus, the living corporation, an alien entity. It roots itself in a small office space with recruitment flyers that say, "Do you sincerely want to get rich?" to attract employees, and it just keeps assimilating, growing bigger and bigger. And it becomes, this is so Morrisonian, it becomes this wild corporate intelligence, a super predator. It starts gobbling up market territory of its own, like Fox, AOL. At the time that was, those were the big ones. On its way to devouring the planet's entire resources, before sending out its own spores, in the form of spaceships carrying more flyers, right? So I just love that assimilation of civilization, and how it defeats it through offering an attempt job, basically. But in the end, Novar defeats it by leaking its secret to its competitors, who tear it apart in the stock exchange. But regardless, I thought this was a brilliant turn. A great little chapter in the saga. Yeah, that's when he finds out that those secrets have been shared. Dude, let's talk about Oubliette real quick. She thinks she's got this terrible scar. She's got nothing wrong with her. Yeah, right. The Terminatrix.
No, right. So I forgot about that. Like, she's had terrible self-image issues, right? Because her dad,
Yes.
Midas is her dad, correct? Okay.
Yeah,
Kept telling her
and
how
we get this
famous she
beautiful
was.
like double page spread where Novar has her take off her mask, and there's like nothing wrong with her. But we learn later. I thought this was crazy as hell. I wanted to share this. Where her name is based off of this medieval torture device, and so I thought we could have a history lesson real quick.
First part, no space.
Oh wait, hold on. Here we are.
It was an underground dungeon that was commonly found in castles during the medieval times. It was used to imprison and hold many different types of prisoners, from political to common day thieves. It was built to inspire psychological damage and harm onto a prisoner. The term oubliette derives from the French word oublier, which means to forget. The oubliette was a small, narrow and incredibly dark hole within a dungeon, of which the victim once thrown into the oubliette was simply forgotten. They remain within the cramped conditions of a tiny cell with a single trapdoor at the top being its only entrance and also exit. Many of the oubliettes were designed in a wine bottle shape. There was absolutely no chance of escaping. It would be a small secluded dungeon within many other dungeons. The prisoners would be thrown into the oubliette sometimes after intense torture and could possibly die in there.
Yeah, so I mean, it just gets worse. Like if you got condemned to an oubliette, it was bad news all the way around. There's that Leap Castle they showed in Ireland. I was looking up. There's records of initially that was just like I think a well where they were trying to keep ice or things they wanted to keep cold. They initially turned into and then they turned it into a torture chamber, put wooden spikes in the floor. And it said when it transferred ownership, it took them like 4 cartloads of moving the bones and bodies out of that thing, man. It's like you wonder think about like the whole psychology behind I can throw this person down a hole and never hear from them again. You know what I mean? Or just know that like I can never hear from them again, and they'll live out their days in like the worst possible manner. Like I don't know, that's a terrible amount of power to give somebody, and no one needs to resist it. There's one in Tower of London, like all these famous castles in England and Europe. Like you can find these things. So I thought that was another great example of a writing tool that's only Grant Morrison's. You know what I mean? It's a character name like that, based on some type of torture mechanism like that is some Morrison. Only Morrison can do this.
Quick, were they using the oubliette in The Dark Knight Rises, like when they threw him in that prison where Bane came from?
Yeah,
was that
I mean that was right.
That
was basically like a giant version of that, right?
Yeah.
Because the whole thing, like, based on the research and what I saw, the basic concept was a narrowing hole, like a wine bottle shape, where it felt completely helpless. There was no escape, regardless of whatever you did. It was just,
very steep drop.
Yeah, it was just that narrow little circle of light, and that's all you had. Like it had to be rough, beyond rough. So, yeah, I thought that was crazy. Get back to it real quick. I think we're close to the end on that one. Got that guy. Yeah, Morrison, we can't really see it. You can barely kind of see it there in the middle, but we got Epcot burning in the distance. At the end here, oubliette declaring cosmic jihad on all these multinational corporations.
That's a lot you can use these days.
Right? The whole time I was reading this, I was like, dude, Marvel would never publish this book right here. In between, in the middle there, you have Donald Duckline face down. All you can really see is his legs and his little feathered butt. But yeah, there's Donald Duckline face down. Yeah, a cool little detail that Morrison included. But yeah, and in hindsight, Marvel Boy, like the Authority, seems almost to be a transmission from a very different world that was waiting for all of us across the Millennial Barricade. And I think that's true for anybody who was alive or growing up in the 90s, and then 9/11 and the early 2000s happened, and the world got different real quick.
It's It's interesting that Morrison compare. I don't want to say it's compare. They're comparing it, but Morrison is, they're putting Marvel Boy and Authority in the same vein.
He did.
When I read this, yeah. When I read this, I was like, this reminds me of the Authority. Like Novar and his team were essentially just variations of the enemies in the Authority that would travel from different dimensions, trying to, I forget what their term was, but just take over different planets, use planets for different things. Like one planet would be just a whole planet for their weapons storage, type shit. They were annex planets, because that's a theme that Warren Ellis likes to flirt with. Even the art, J.G. Jones was very reminiscent of Brian Hitch, which Brian Hitch was doing in the Authority. So that's I read that and I was like, this reminds me of the Authority. It's clear that Morrison had that in mind.
Yeah, of course Grant was like, me and Warren powwowed and decided that we should hand it over to Mark Millar. Like, okay, Grant. Like everything, Mark Millar's whole career is thanks to Grant Morrison. If you read,
yeah.
I love that interview with him. It's like, Grant, do you I heard you and Mark live in the same area. Do you hope to run into him again? He's like, only if I'm on a moving car going about 60 miles an hour.
Millar has no grievances. More laid back about it.
No, I love Mark's. Yeah, I love Mark's general attitude towards life. Like, love him or hate him, his confidence or whatever. Like, I feel like I would love to sit down and have a beer with that dude. He seems super cool.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I think that about does it. Yeah, like I said, Super God's right there on the right. Y'all check it out if you haven't. And of course, Marvel Boy, a great Marvel Knights entry. I think, dude, we're kind of running thin on the Marvel Knights content. I was thinking next week we do Loeb and Sales, colored Spider-Man blue, Daredevil yellow, and all that good stuff, and then we kind of say our goodbyes to Marvel Knights and move on to other books in the early 2000s with Marvel. But real quick, flowers you want to give tonight? Who are you giving flowers to, bro? You got anybody you want to give flowers to? I got.
Everybody just keeping on out there with their struggles and
of course you with that bullshit. All right, while you bullshitting, hold on.
Anybody who's out there putting their best foot forward, keep on keeping on. I'm forgetting what Joe Dirt said.
Keep on keeping on.
Something very we got there.
Let me go solo. I'm on a roll. Time to go solo. Rolling. I just want to shout out the Hildebrandt brothers for their amazing card work, their painted efforts during the 90s, which really just elevated my fandom. Y'all check them out.
Is that like a sheet?
This is a promo card.
Okay, I got one of those. Not as dope as that.
You ain't got to say it like that. Like, this shit's worth a nickel, but no, I'm fucking with you. 1994 Marvel Masterpieces, an immaculate set. Yeah, man, y'all check them out. Hold on, let me get out of this solo. All right.
I got.
All right, go ahead. Let's give some flowers real quick, man.
Oh no, I thought those were your roses, the Marvel set.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout out the Hildebrandt brothers. Yeah.
Oh. Well, I was just gonna show some cards today. I was going through my cards because I saw your card post earlier. And I grabbed some of my favorite cards, bro. We'll start from the beginning. We got
let's go.
93 Marvel Masterpieces, baby. Oh shit.
Oh hell yeah. That's fire.
Boom. I'll post it so it looks better. But then we got the Hildebrandt. Yeah.
Oh, that's sick. That's what I'm saying, man. Their painted style was so. It's just like owning a little piece of art. I just love that as a kid. Yeah, bring it back and don't make it $150 a card, guys. Please.
This is better. Nelson de Castro, the 95 Fleer.
Yeah. 95 Fleer set was
And then
legendary. Had John
this
Romito on that
is
set. All sorts of legends.
Fleer Ultra. This is Age of Apocalypse Havoc. But yeah, I had a little. This is it says Fleer Ultra X-Men. 1996. Okay, I think this is 96. Fleer Ultra. But yeah, these are my Havoc cards. I'll probably post these bad boys later. Pick a card, any card. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's awesome, Dan. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, man. All right. So on to our last segment of the evening before we get to our PCB schedule. Guess my government. All right, guys. We've had 3 stumpers. Lynk got last week with Galactus. This week is Jim Corrigan. All right. Do we have any guesses for Jim Corrigan? Who is Jim Corrigan? And if we got radio silence in the chat, I'll give you all a hint as to which universe Jim resides in. All right. I like your silence, Link. That's usually a good sign. Because you jumped all over Gallon of Ta, like a little too quick. So I was like, all right, I gotta go back.
I understand that reference. That's how I felt.
Right,
I was like,
yeah. DC, I feel like DC names are harder than Marvel names, but that's just me. Because Marvel names are all like we were saying earlier, Stan loves his alliteration, so it's like
it's kind of on the nose, not on the nose, but yeah.
All right, so this is a DC name. If that hit wasn't enough, this name resides in the DC universe, and he had to. Well, wait for a minute. Well, okay, he had a significant role in Kingdom Come, or at least a semi-significant role.
I'm drawing a blank.
All right, we got.
Okay.
It is none other than the Spectre. Yes, Jim Corrigan. Of course, there we are with this epic fucking when he appears in the church to and he's supposed to be what, like the cosmic entity and the the spirit of God's vengeance on this this world.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jim Corrigan, the Spectre. He goes way back. But Kingdom Come is my frame of reference. But yeah, he's the physical embodiment of God's vengeance on Earth, known as Astar. Permanently bonded to a human soul, he uses incredible divine powers to punish the truly wicked. Usually, so a little bit of Ghost Rider-y, usually ending in his victims' lives in creative and ironic ways. His existence is in response to the failure of Eclipso, the spirit of God's wrath that turned completely malevolent and evil.
I know that.
He was an original superhero. He was a member of the JSA during the Golden Age. Hal Jordan took his place during the Day of Judgment. And then Christopher Allen became the third Spectre at the end of Day of Vengeance during Infinite Crisis. He was created by Jerry Siegel, who also created Superman. And Bernard Bailey, first appearing in More Fun Comics in 1940, which is right there on the left.
Nice.
So,
man,
a couple
start off as blue, huh? That's crazy.
On the left from Ross, I think.
So was it like a Hulk thing where it was like well, when they first started printing him, was he always intended to be green, but he was coming out blue? Because I didn't know that about the Spectre. That's pretty dope. He started off as blue.
My internet jumping.
Oh, you're back. You're back now. Can you hear me? Stu.
My bad, dude. I don't know. I think my
No.
my internet should have been here at the end of the. Yeah.
Well, we made it to the end though, so that's
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You can.
Sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. My bad. I don't know. It was my bad, guys. Okay. Um. Yeah. Let's move on to a PCP schedule.
Okay.
We talked about him tonight. Jae Lee. Jae Lee had blueberry pancakes with Robbie this week. So yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Robbie and his buddy Kevin and the MegaCon experience. I saw a bunch of homies on Instagram.
I can't help but
like they had to go home safe, all that good stuff.
I can't help but feel us covering Fantastic Four 1, 2, 3, 4 the previous week definitely gave the right energy for Robbie to come into contact with Jae Lee at the con. So in a way, we're inadvertently responsible for that. No, I'm just weird stretching, but that's dope though. I wish I could have had some blueberry pancakes with Jae Lee.
No, I love that. I love that interpretation, and that seems on point. Oh yeah, that seems definitely on point. Yeah. So Blaine Fable, of course, this Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. He doesn't have a thumbnail yet, but we got the Homie Puff Comics coming through. Y'all make sure y'all check us out. Nick's got his new comic book day haul and a FOC cutoff every week. Of course, Nick at Night, one of the best review shows every Saturday night. I think dropping at 8 p.m. Eastern. Y'all make sure you check that out. Herman Tom just broke down ASM 3940. I think on what was that?
Nice.
Sunday? Yeah. Sunday. Y'all make sure you check them out. Burno has got Nope dropping with Nick and Eric tomorrow night at 9. I can't wait to see those three guys talk about this one. That was a great film. Yeah, I can't wait to see these guys' conversation. Manny's got his Incredible Hulk #8 review out. Y'all make sure you check out Nerdtastic News on YouTube and IG. Taki's got Matt Baker art review out. My Weekend, Your Wednesday as well. At Taki616 on YouTube, the homie. Who else we got? Oh, Geeks Unleashed. Yes, Mortal Kombat. New issue. Episode 149.
Mortal Kombat.
The classic
Yes.
90s Mortal Kombat. Geeks Unleashed, anywhere you get your podcast, guys. They do a great job. They really do. Y'all make sure you check them out. That hour and a half will fly by listening to them. Such natural, great conversations. So check them out. Geeks Unleashed on your favorite podcast platform. He's got some great stuff coming. He ain't doing shit right now, but y'all make sure you stay tuned for Eric bringing some great comic reviews.
Yeah, I guess. Well, that one's not fitting this week because my man's is going to be on Verno's Thursday, so he's doing some shit, you know.
Yeah. He's always up to something, man. But E, anything you want to? Or I mean, I'm sorry, not E. Link, anything you want to say to these people before we get out of here, brother?
Damn it. I was trying to think of a corny movie quote, but I couldn't. I failed you guys this week. Next week I got you, but thanks for hanging out. Check you next week.
Oh yeah. I appreciate everybody for coming out. Just remember the revolution starts in how we treat one another on a daily level. So take the time to be patient, be kind, and find a way. But thank y'all for coming out and spending time with us. We'll see you next Tuesday. Peace and station. Later.